students, welcome to quarter 4. I'm going to start on our first lesson, but first I'm coming from Seattle, Washington. I'm visiting my parents here, so I wanted to show you where we are. I'm in the basement, so it's kind of shady, but it's gorgeous and green, and spring has sprung here. So I thought I'd just share that a little bit with you guys so that you could see where I'm at while I'm recording. Kind of exciting. All right, let's get to the lesson. Today, the lesson is going to be cut up into 2 parts. So just prepare yourself that, I'm going to talk through things at a fairly slowly pace so that you guys can, you can pause, you can rewatch, or you can skip through some of it if I'm over explaining. You know me, I like to over explain rather than under explain, so just prepare yourself for that. Okay, so this unit that we're going to work on is going to be slightly different than the other units that we've done. For this, you're just taking notes and you're just copying down what we're doing in the video, essentially. And the reason why we're doing this is just to kind of get you used to the idea. Doesn't mean we don't want you to understand what we're talking about. The goal is that you understand what we're talking about. But just to ease into quarter 4, we are going to have you just follow along, take notes, and then turn in the notes to the assignment for the week. All right, so this unit is called Linear Applications, and this is the first lesson that we're doing from the linear application unit. So linear application just means word problems that have to do with linear equations. That's right, you guys, linear equations are back. Remember linear equations, y equals mx plus b. It's coming back. All right, so let's read the word problem and see where we're at. The word problem says a certain absent-minded student forgot to charge their cell phone overnight. They also left their charger at home. This is worrisome because the student enjoys Snapchatting all day at school with their friends. I hope they're hoping that their phone's battery will take it through the entire day, even though it is not fully charged. After 60 minutes of school, the battery has 46% remaining. All right, and then it says after 75 minutes of school, the battery has gone down to 43% remaining. So basically what they're saying is if you go from 60 minutes to 75 minutes, which is 15 minutes, your battery goes from 46% to 43%, so it goes down 3%. So every 3% that you go down takes 15 minutes. Another way to say that is every 15 minutes you lose 3%. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. It says assume that the battery level is decreasing at a constant rate. So it's not going to decrease faster or slower depending on whether you're using it more or what you're using it for. Even though that might be what happens in real life, since we're talking about linear, it's got to follow that same pattern. Remember, slope follows a pattern. Okay, so what we want to know first is what are 2 coordinate points? Hopefully you know the meaning of this word, coordinate, from the Kahoot that we did that went over the vocab. So coordinates are 2 points, and in word problems, each coordinate contains an X and it contains a Y. So this should look very familiar to you, I am hoping. And we use yellow for Y. This is something that I've been consistent on all year long, is using the green for the X's and the yellow for the Y. And we're just going to follow the pattern from the word problem. It says after 60 minutes of school, the battery has 46% remaining. So what that means is that after 60 minutes of school, we have 46% battery left. So it's like a snapshot of a moment in time. 60 minutes belongs to 46%. And then this says after 75 minutes, we have 43%. So again, it's like a snapshot in time. It gives you an X value and a Y value. It represents what's going on at that very moment. So the X coordinate represents something and the Y coordinate represents something as well. Remember, X coordinate is the green or the X in the point, and the Y coordinate is the yellow or the Y in the coordinate. And we're going to be seeing this phrase represents in almost every single question. What it means is, what does it mean in real life? So, or another way to say that is, write me a sentence that explains what's going on, or write your answer as a complete sentence, or use units in your answer. All of these things mean the same thing as saying represents. So the X coordinate represents, and we can kind of see it in the question. It says 60 minutes, after 60 minutes of school, after 75 minutes of school. So this is how long you've been at school. So how long school has been, I'll just abbreviate it because I'm lazy. How long school, and we're using minutes. So we're gonna abbreviate it just by saying minutes. All right, and then it says the battery has 46% remaining, and it's gone down to 43% remaining. So that is battery remaining. But we're using percent to measure how much is remaining. So we're going to use percentage for that. All right, so now we need to read this next question very carefully. And I hope you have like a little like trigger, or you have a memory. Hopefully it's a positive memory, but maybe it's not a positive memory, but at least it's a memory, where you say calculate the equation of the line, or find the equation of a line, and it's linear. So in your head, you should right away be saying y equals blank, x plus blank. Set yourself up for success. Fill in those blanks at the end. All right. And basically what we're doing is we are finding an equation of a line, and I'll explain a little bit about what the rest of the question means. Don't worry too much about this part, but it says represents the percent of battery. That's our Y. The Y is the percent of battery remaining after a certain number of minutes. So X is our number of minutes. So essentially what they're saying is find an equation where Y equals something where you have the X on the other side of the equal sign. All right, so the first step that we need to do in order to solve this is to find the slope, right? Remember, slope, we use the letter M, and we are going to use the slope formula here to find that slope. So hopefully you guys remember that we use this strategy where we know we need to subtract the y's on top, and we know we need to subtract the x's on the bottom, and we set ourselves up. We know that the y's go on top and the x's go on the bottom. And so we're going to write those going the second y down back to the first y. Do you have to do it that way? No. Are there more than one ways to figure this out? Yes, but this is the way I taught it before. It's the way I'm going to teach it again. So we have our x's are 75, and we need to subtract 60. Now, if we did this by hand, you know, kind of like the way we talked about it before, we were saying, okay, so that means it goes down 3% every 15 minutes. Another way to say that is, you know, using, if you have the skills to reduce a fraction, it would be going down 1% every 5 minutes. So if you are feeling a little bit rusty with your fractions and calculation skills, don't worry about it. Remember, you can always go to your trusty calculator and you can just put it in from the very beginning and it'll do all the reducing for you. You just have to remember to click the button that converts it to a fraction, and that is the same thing as what we got, which is great. That's what we want to happen. So we found our slope. We found our slope, which in this case has a meaning, and we'll get more into that in just a moment. What's missing? Do you guys remember? It's the b value. The b value is missing. So I'm going to make this smaller, and we're going to go on a little journey and solve for the b value. So what do we need to do to solve for the b value? Well, one way to think about the b value is where we start, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But y equals mx plus b is the first step to solve for b. We know our m. We know we have 2 points that could give us an x. We have 2 points that could give us a y, and then we're solving for b. I always use this first point for my x and the y. So the y is 46. The m is -1/5. The x is 60. Remember, if you have 2 letters next to each other, they're multiplying. And then our b is what we're solving for, so we just write plus b. Okay, multiplying these two things together, 46 is equal to -12. Again, if fractions are not your friend, that's all right. We're going to use our calculator. Remember, we can put fractions on our calculator, 1/5 times 60, and we get -12. And then plus b. Then all we need to do is get b alone by creating a 0. Remember, we're always adding top to bottom when we're solving, and we get 58 is equal to our b value there. Let's resize this. And the b value goes over here. We say plus 58, and I use pink for b. All right. So that was kind of a lot, and if you don't remember that from earlier in the year, that's okay. Go to the link that I put in the description, and it'll take you to my video from that unit last semester where we learned how to do that, and it'll go through a few examples for you, and you can try them on your own and check your answers with me to see if you really understand the answers. We're gonna go through the next part of this lesson on the next part of the video. So I'm gonna say a quick goodbye, but then you wanna switch to the next video. So as we end, here's a reminder. First thing, if part C, what we just got done with, finding the equation, was difficult for you, go to the link that is in the description for my video and watch the lesson from last semester. It'll help you review that process. And then the second thing is that you need to go to the next part 2 video, and we will go through the rest of the examples together. All right, I'll see you in a minute.